All right, so Vanity Fair came out with this really nice piece on Chris Hemsworth. It was really, really long. But in it, he talked about Thor Love and Thunder, just playing Thor in general. But speaking specifically about Thor Love and Thunder, he was just like, I became a parody of myself. I did not stick the landing with this. So I want to talk about this because I feel like I just hope that he's not accepting too much of the blame, because I think most of the blame for the slow disintegration of Thor's character is the decision makers right at the top. It's the decision makers at Marvel and stuff. So let's talk about it. So let's just start with some parts of this article from Vanity Fair, right? So grateful as he was for the opportunity to play Thor, Chris Hemsworth grew frustrated playing the great Asgardian defender. He said, sometimes I felt like a security guard for the team. He says, I would read everyone else's lines and go, oh, they got way cooler stuff. They're having more fun. What's my character doing? It was always about, you've got the wig on, you've got the muscles, you've got the costume, where's the lighting? Yeah, I'm part of this big thing, but I'm probably pretty replaceable. I'm gonna read on a little further before I comment on any of that. His friend and co-star Robert Downey Jr. won't hear of such talk. First off, Thor as a character was super tricky to adapt, lots of implied limitations, but he and Ken figured out how to transcend, make him somehow relatable but godlike. Hemsworth is, in my opinion, the most complex psyche out of all of us Avengers. He's got wit and gravitas, but also such restraint, fire, and gentleness. And I'm just like, oh, that's really sweet, Robert. That's really sweet, but I definitely understand what Chris is talking about. Then when Taika came on board to direct 2017's Thor Ragnarok, he was as eager to tweak the Thor character as its megastar. They decided to have some fun with tone, letting Hemsworth dig into his natural comedic gifts, with the character wonderfully reduced to a god with a dad bod, wallowing and brokenhearted. Fellow Aussie Kate Blanchett, his Ragnarok co-star, loved him immediately. I first met Chris on the lot. He was driving a golf cart, his Thor locks flying, careening towards me with a huge grin of welcome. I had heard he was generous, and boy is he generous, hilarious, and as hardworking and diligent as he is handsome. But I had no idea what a goofball he is. He is a complete goofball. He sets the tone on set. Everyone is valued, everyone is welcome. I adore and admire him deeply. I'm gonna skip around. The article says, but then came Love and Thunder, for which Hemsworth still can't forgive himself. I got caught up in the improv and the wackiness, and I became a parody of myself. I didn't stick the landing. But he also thinks he owes the audience another Thor after what felt like a whiff with Thor Love and Thunder. He wants to let himself take his craft more seriously, but he doesn't want to be an overly self-important, pretentious wanker. Okay, let me stop here. Let's go back to where he's talking about how everyone else on the team has way cooler stuff, way cooler lines. They're doing things that are much more fun, and they just told him, like, girl, you got the muscles, you got the costume, that's it. Like, you just stand there, look pretty. Now, if you pay any attention to Thor's character in the MCU, like, this is very, what Chris is saying is very obvious, right? Like, I like, anytime you got a hero with that kind of power set, I'm gonna automatically be interested, right? So the fact that they took such an interesting power set, such an interesting god, right, and made him, I don't know, made him whatever, it just felt, I was just really annoyed. I was really annoyed, especially you talking about Thor Love and Thunder. I was just like, oh my God, Gore the God Butcher could have been everything, and this is what we got, you know? So, like, I can see it. I can see that, but I don't know if Chris should be, like, really beating himself up this much if he, you know, had to work with a shitty script, or if the decision makers at the top weren't seeing things from his perspective or from another perspective. I just think it's hard for actors to work within the realm of, or within the boundaries of what some of these decision makers deem necessary or mandatory and still, give us the essence of the character that they love so much. So I don't know. You see what I'm saying? And then you move on because they talk about Thor Ragnarok, and I think that they, like, tone-wise, I think that they did really well with that movie, right? Yes, Thor was funny. He's a little bit more annoying than usual, but like he was still giving us serious moments, really cool fight scenes. I really did not like how Hela's powers manifested. I will always have beef with that. I hate that she was throwing knives as the goddess of death. I wish that she looked like Hades. I wish her powers looked like Hades from Clash of the Titans or Wrath of the Titans, like how Hades' powers looked. But hey, I just think, like, tone wise, that was probably the borderline for me, Thor Ragnarok, because when you went into Thor Love and Thunder, I was like, this is too much. Y'all doing way too much. Y'all doing way too much. Like, I'm glad that he was able to say, like, I became a parody of myself. I got caught up in the improv and wackiness. I get it. And I'm also, I don't know, I like when these, like, actors, artists, or whatever are able to sit down and be like, okay, well, I can see what y'all talk about, and I want to keep trying for something different, something better. Like, at least that, because there are other people who are just like, girl, suck my dick. You know what I mean? Like, fuck it, I don't care, this is what y'all get, and I'm moving on about my business. But I'd like to see that Chris is like, well, let's try it again, let's try something different. But I just want to reiterate that, like, Chris only can, like, objectively receive so much of the blame. Like, at some point we're gonna have to look at the higher ups and the people making these plot decisions, these decisions to keep some of these characters in the back, these decisions to try and handle 20, 30 plot lines with 3-4 bitches who can on the team who can do the same thing. So of course you're gonna move one of them bitches back. If you got one who can manipulate energy and the other bitch lightning, it's just like, girl, one of y'all hoes gonna have to step back, because we ain't CGIing all you bitches. Like, we are not spending the money CGI all you bitches. You see what I'm saying? So, like, it's just, I feel like it's such a complicated topic. But as far as, like, who should get the blame for all this, in my opinion, it's the decision makers, girl. Y'all really thought we was gonna eat that shit up, like, because it passed by how many people's approvals? It got approval from how many people, and it still hit the theaters. Y'all thought we was gonna eat that shit up. Like, you can say what you want to say about the first Thor movies or first Thor movie, but at least he wasn't spending 10 hours talking to his hammer. Like, you can say whatever you want. At least we weren't spending whole entire parts of, like, significant parts of the movie where we could have been diving into Gore the God Butcher's backstory and seeing him, like, actually murder all the gods at that one city, wherever the fuck them gods, you know what I'm talking about, where them gods go. Like, we could have really dived into some shit. Instead, we got minutes upon minutes of him talking to his hammer. So you see what I'm saying? So, like, I don't know. I think that it's always good to, like, experiment and see how far you can push a character or whatever. But I'm just like, y'all really gotta get this together. Y'all gotta get it together. And by y'all, I mean the decision makers. I know that, of course, Chris was tweaking the character as well as the director and stuff, right? But I'm just talking about, listen, nothing gonna get past them Mickey Mouse ass ears. Nothing is gonna be put out in these Disney streets and these Marvel streets if these top decision makers didn't fucking, you know what I mean, approve that shit, are okay with it, or have worked toward this point. So it's just like, Chris, it's great that you are being introspective, but these people at the top, these bosses at the top also need to be as well. You know, that's what I think. What do y'all think about this? Thank you so much for watching. Love y'all so much, and I'll check y'all out later. Peace. Make sure that you're going to www.zeraxia.com. When you join the waitlist there on the site, you will be the first to be notified when I drop my sequel. Also, you'll immediately get chapter 1 of my upcoming sequel of the upcoming book sent to your email as a PDF. So check that out. Also, this is a different excerpt from my upcoming book, so you definitely want to pause to read if you're trying to get your life. Keep in mind that this upcoming book, the sequel, is following up the first book that is already released called Zeraxia, Wrath of the God King. I released it a few years ago. It was my really, it was my introduction to writing, fantasy and stuff. So just go easy on me. But either way, as you can see here, it's given 4.9 stars. It's given 4.9 stars. So yeah, check out Zoraxia Wrath of the God King while you wait for Zoraxia The Vengeance of Cold Wind, right? And go to Zoraxia.com, sign up, join the waitlist, get your free chapter. Thank you so much.